reporting on William and Catherine at the time, do you think reporting of royal couples has changed since then, or it changed since Diana and Charles, and then to Catherine and William, didn't it?
I think it has changed, a great deal. Some would say for the better. You have to remember as well that when the royal women came, or women came into the royal family, like Diana and the Duchess of York, Sarah the Duchess of York, they were just thrown in. They were not given any help or anything at all. The difference between them and Catherine and Meghan was immense. Catherine was helped as well. William made it clear right at the start, don't mess her about. And then he's telling these royal aides, don't mess her around, help her. And so he put his foot down, unlike Charles with Diana, unlike Andrew with Fergie. And so it was the same help that Meghan received as well. You got Meghan, we know that there were stories around about the Queen offering Lady Susan Hussey, one of her ladies-in-waiting at the time, to help show her the ropes. She was an American. I think everybody was conscious what happened with the last American who tried to come into the royal family. That ended in an abdication. We don't want to, we wanted to give this girl a chance. She had everything, really. She was American. She was an actress. She was mixed race. So she had all the good, and she was good looking. Let's not make any bones about it. She was a cracking looking girl. So she had all the right attributes to be a good member of the royal family, and she blew it at the end. And Catherine hasn't blown it. Look where Catherine is now. I know she's battling cancer just like the king, but she's been a huge asset to that royal family, given what's been going on for the last 20 years. Well,
William and Catherine's relationship and marriage is one of the rare success stories over the last 30 or 40 years, along with Charles and Camilla, which has been a wonderful marriage since they've been together. It's one of those ones that have gone really well. Do you think, from your reporting experience or from what you've seen as well, whether Meghan or Catherine were treated differently, or whether the two marriages and relationships, because obviously you pointed out that Meghan and Harry got together really quickly. We were asked to, the journalists were asked to step back a little bit, and when Catherine and William got together, were the two women that married into the royal family, marrying these princes, were they treated differently by journalists and by the public?
I don't think they were. Not at the start. I don't think they were at all. I think, as I said earlier on, when you saw Meghan with Harry, when they were out and about, the crowds were 10, 12 deep. It was back to the good old days of, royal walkabouts. It was fantastic. It only started to go wrong, when you started to hear that there was a few strops being thrown by Meghan. Did she make Catherine cry? Did she make Charlotte cry? You've got to accept as well that any bride's going to be right up there. The nerves are going to be, razor sharp. So you've got to take that into account. But I think it all went wrong when they decided that they were going to up sticks and go. I think it's just that simple.
Could you ever see a world where the Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, are lauded in the same way that William and Catherine are, that they're an integral part of the royal family, and people, really love them in the same way they did for William and Catherine?
I think that ship has sailed. I think they were lauded at one time. I think, there was great hopes for the pair of them coming into the royal family. And given that, the problems that she had with her own father, that the King, then Prince of Wales, walked her halfway down the aisle as well, was really touching. Can't believe it could have happened for Diana or Sarah Ferguson. So I think she was given every help and everything that she could possibly have to make her route into the royal family as clean and as clear as possible. And as I say, I think she just threw it in their faces at the end.
Yeah, well, it is remarkable. 20 years now, as I say, of William. Since the news was broken of William and Catherine, William and Harry.
Yeah.
So when you were working, did you get to meet them very often?
Yeah.
What were they like as boys? And do you think that could you ever see this split, this dispute that they have ever happening?
Never in a month of Sundays would I have said that they were going to fall out. Harry, when he was much younger, about 5 or 6, whenever he was with his mother, he used to give the waiting photographers the fingers. He used to stick 2 fingers up, and he was always chastised by Diana because he was a cheeky chappy. As the boys got older, and I've seen them together, I've seen them on the ski slopes, they got on very, very well. And this is why I think that one of the things that Harry said in his book Spare, about his father, was so wrong. I mean, I watched the then prince, with his children, and he was as loving to those boys as was Diana. Diana was much more extrovert. Once in Canada, the boys were on the Royal Yacht Britannia. They just arrived. Diana and Charles had just finished a job. Diana walks up the gangplank. Charles is very polite. He stands there and says hello to the captain, the first officer, the cook, the first mate, whatever. Diana ignores them all and goes, runs practically down the gangplank with her arms wide open, and the boys rush up to her and give her that's the picture that made, the newspapers all over the world. And poor old Charles is left looking like a lemon, as he was in India when he didn't take her to the Taj Mahal and left her sitting alone there while he was addressing a business meeting 500 miles away. He just didn't get those sort of things right. But the boys themselves were always very pleasant. I mean, I was there the day that William passed his driving test, which was great fun. And so we got to see them on special occasions, and they were always reasonably friendly. They'd all say hello. I mean, I remember in Canada when they both went to when they were in Canada, it was like the Beatles had arrived.
This was just shortly after Diana died, wasn't it?
This was before. This was way before.
Oh, right,
this was way before Diana died. Was it before Diana? I'm sorry. Well, whenever it was, the boys. It must have been after Diana died. The boys went up, and they were walking up to an event, and the screams. It was like the Beatles. It was just pop stars stuff. And I was behind them, and Harry kept saying to William, raise your hand again and see what happens. Every time, William was like an Ottoman, waving his hand. And of course, all these girls were just trying to rush forward. It was a fantastic set. And they were really, really close. And this is what makes it so sad that they're now so far apart. I mean, it's not if, but when William becomes king, I always believed that Harry would be one of his top advisors. I think that's out the window now. Yeah. Right out the window.
It should be his wingman.
That's his
thing.
And that's what Diana always wanted, the boys to remain as close as possible. They had each other, and it was them against the rest of the world. But of course now, it's not going to happen.
Hi everyone. Welcome back to Meghan and Harry Tales. I'm Adrian, here to unpack the latest commentary about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. This time from Charles Rae, a former royal correspondent for The Sun. Rae claims Meghan was once loved by the royal family and the public, but threw it all away because she didn't understand her place in the royal pecking order. But is this narrative accurate, or is it just another biased take designed to shift blame onto Meghan? Stick around, because we're going to break it all down. Let's start with Rae's claim that Meghan was lauded when she joined the royal family. He reminisces about the enthusiastic crowds who turned out to see Meghan and Harry during their early royal engagements. And he's right. Meghan's warmth, charm and modern approach breathed new life into the monarchy. But what Rae conveniently ignores is how quickly the tide turned. The British tabloids launched an unrelenting smear campaign against Meghan, nitpicking everything from her choice of nail polish to how she held her baby bump. While Kate was praised for eating avocado toast, Meghan was accused of fueling environmental destruction and human rights abuses for enjoying the same snack. If Meghan was truly loved, as Rae claims, why did the press work overtime to tear her down? The world watched, captivated as Prince Harry, the once wayward prince, found love with a beautiful, accomplished American actress. Meghan, with her megawatt smile and undeniable charisma, charmed the public. She was a breath of fresh air, bringing a modern sensibility to the age-old institution. Crowds cheered, flags waved, and hopes ran high for a new era within the monarchy. Meghan, it seemed, was welcomed with open arms. The royal family, too, appeared delighted with their newest member. Public pronouncements spoke of Meghan's warmth and intelligence. She was embraced, seemingly, for who she was, a strong, independent woman with a passion for humanitarian work. The initial period following the engagement announcement was a whirlwind of public appearances and royal engagements. Meghan navigated her new role with grace and ease, quickly endearing herself to the British public and beyond. For a while it seemed the fairy tale was destined for a happy ending. However, beneath the surface of public adoration, a subtle shift was beginning to occur. The very attributes that initially drew people to Meghan, her confidence, her outspoken nature, her biracial heritage, were slowly being reframed. The narrative was changing, and the seeds of doubt were being sown. The fairy tale, as fairy tales often do, was about to take a darker turn. The honeymoon period, as it inevitably does, began to fade. The once adoring media, hungry for a new angle, started to turn. Stories questioning Meghan's motives, her background, and her suitability for royal life began to surface. The narrative shifted from celebration to scrutiny, from admiration to suspicion. What was once lauded as refreshingly modern was now portrayed as brash and disrespectful. Whispers of Duchess Difficult began to circulate, painting a picture of a demanding diva throwing tantrums behind palace walls. Anonymous sources, conveniently never named, spoke of clashes with staff and tensions within the family. Meghan's every move, every outfit, every expression was analysed and dissected, searching for evidence to support the emerging narrative. The smear campaign, relentless and insidious, had begun. One particular incident stands out as a stark illustration of the media manipulation employed against Meghan, the infamous crying story. The tabloids ran rampant with reports of Meghan reducing Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, to tears in a dress fitting for Princess Charlotte. Meghan was painted as a bully, a demanding diva who had upset the beloved Kate. The story, devoured by a public eager for royal drama, cemented the image of Meghan as the villain of the piece. The truth, as it so often does, proved to be far more nuanced. It later emerged that the incident had been misrepresented, that it was Meghan, not Kate, who had been left in tears. This revelation, however, was relegated to the footnotes, a minor detail in the ongoing saga of Meghan's supposed wrongdoings. The damage had been done. The crying story, a prime example of the distorted narratives spun by the tabloids, served to further solidify the negative public perception of Meghan. Section 4. Unequal measures. The Kate and Meghan dichotomy. The stark contrast in how Meghan was treated compared to her sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, exposed a glaring double standard within the British media and, some argued, the institution itself. Kate, throughout her tenure as a royal, had been afforded a level of deference and respect seemingly denied to Meghan. Her fashion choices were lauded, her occasional missteps were swiftly brushed aside, and her family background, despite its own share of controversy, was never subject to the same level of scrutiny. Meghan, on the other hand, was held to a different standard. Her biracial heritage, her American upbringing, her previous marriage, all became points of contention, fodder for the tabloid rumour mill. Her every move was analysed through a lens of suspicion and judgment. The disparity in treatment was impossible to ignore, highlighting a deep-seated bias that seemed to permeate the very fabric of the British establishment. Section 5. A cry for help, met with silence. As the relentless negativity took its toll, Meghan's mental health began to suffer. The constant barrage of criticism, the lack of support from the institution that was supposed to protect her, and the relentless hounding by the paparazzi pushed her to a breaking point. She bravely spoke out about her struggles, admitting that she was not okay. Her pleas for help, however, were met with a deafening silence. The institution, seemingly more concerned with preserving its image than protecting its own, failed to provide the support Meghan so desperately needed. Instead of addressing the root causes of her distress, the relentless negativity and the double standards she faced, the palace remained silent, hiding behind a wall of stiff upper lips and never complain, never explain mantras. This lack of support, this deafening silence, would prove to be a turning point. Meghan, realizing that she could no longer subject herself or her family to such an environment, made the difficult decision to step back. So, there you have it, the truth behind Charles Rae's claims about Meghan Markle. Once again, the tabloids are rewriting history to paint Meghan as the villain while ignoring the systemic issues she faced. What do you think? Was Meghan really loved, or was she always set up to fail? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Meghan and Harry Tales for more honest conversations about the Sussexes. Until next time, I'm Adrian. Thanks for watching and take care.